You know, when we think about our skeleton, we usually picture this dry, static frame, right? Kind of like scaffolding for a building. But what if I told you it's actually a dynamic, living, and incredibly powerful machine? Let's dive in and uncover the secrets hiding inside your own bones.
Okay, to give you a sense of its raw power, think about this. The next time you jump and land, what kind of force are your bones actually taking? The answer is pretty wild. It's about 12 times your own body weight. That's the kind of strength we're dealing with here.
So how in the world does it handle that kind of force? Well, in a way, it's like the wood fibers that support a massive tree. It's an architectural marvel. But, unlike a tree, your skeleton is built for something totally different: action. At its core, the skeletal system really has three main jobs. First, it's the structure, right? It supports your entire body. Second, it's your personal bodyguard, protecting your most vital organs. And third, and this is the really cool part, it allows you to move.
What's really fascinating is how the skeleton splits up these responsibilities. See, it's not just one big uniform structure. It's actually a system made of two distinct parts, and each one is specialized for a different, crucial purpose.
And this image shows that division perfectly. See the parts in red? That's the axial skeleton, your skull, rib cage, and spine. Its number one job: protection. It's basically a vault for your brain, heart, and lungs. Now, all the parts in white, that's the appendicular skeleton, your arms, legs, shoulders, hips. This is the skeleton of action, built for getting you from A to B.
Of course, none of that movement will be possible if our skeleton was just one solid piece of bone. The real magic happens where those bones meet. These connections, our joints, are the engineering genius that gives us our incredible range of motion.
So, to put it simply, a joint is just a place where two bones meet up. But don't let that simple definition fool you. The design of every single joint dictates its function. Some are fused solid for protection, like in your skull, while others are engineered for this incredible spectrum of movement.
All right, let's look at a few of the key designs. First up, we have the hinge joint. Think about your knees or your fingers. They allow for a really straightforward back and forth motion, providing a ton of stability in just one direction.
Yeah, the perfect way to think about it is a swinging door. It opens and it closes, all on one plane. Super simple, super effective, and absolutely essential for walking and gripping things. But what happens when you need more than just back and forth? Well, for true freedom of movement, you've got the ball and socket joint. Just like the name says, the rounded end of one bone fits nice and snug into a cup-shaped socket on another, and that unlocks a huge range of motion. It's basically the body's joystick. Your shoulders and your hips have this design, which allows for rotation and movement in almost any direction. Just think of a baseball pitcher winding up or a swimmer doing the backstroke. That's the ball and socket in action. Next, we've got the pivot joint, which is all about a different kind of movement: rotation. This is what allows one bone to literally turn on another, kind of like an axle. The best example is right at the top of your spine. It's what lets you shake your head no without having to move your entire body. And finally, we get to the real fine-tuners. You've got gliding joints in your wrists and ankles that let bones slide over each other. That gives you the flexibility to walk on uneven ground. And then there's the unique saddle joint, which is only in your thumb. That's the reason you can grip things so well and, yep, text so easily. It lets your thumb move across your palm in all these different directions. So we've seen how bones support us and how they move us, but honestly, the most incredible part of this whole story lies deep inside the bone itself, because it's not just some hard, inert tissue. It's a living, breathing factory. Which kind of makes you wonder, right? If they're not just dead sticks of calcium, what in the world is actually going on in there? Well, a living bone is layered. It all starts with the periosteum. That's a membrane on the outside that has all the blood vessels. Just underneath that is the super dense compact bone, which gives it its strength. And then, at the very center, you find spongy bone. Now, it's not squishy, but it's this porous network that protects the most important part of all. And that's the red bone marrow. This is the factory floor. It is constantly churning out the red and white blood cells that your entire body needs to function. So your skeleton isn't just for structure. It's a key part of your circulatory system. How amazing is that? And this factory doesn't just pop up out of nowhere. Our skeletons actually start out as flexible cartilage. Then, these special cells called osteoblasts get to work, secreting a mix of collagen and minerals. That mixture hardens in a process called calcification, turning that soft framework into hard bone and trapping the cells inside, where they then mature. But what's really key to understand here is that this process, it never really stops. Your bones are in a constant state of remodeling. They're like your body's personal mineral bank, with calcium being deposited and withdrawn all the time to keep your whole system in balance. This is why bones can heal after a break, and why they get stronger when you exercise. They are literally constantly adapting to the stresses you put on them. And that all brings us to one final, really thought-provoking idea. Our bones hit their peak strength right around age 30. And after that, a slow process of density loss begins. So, knowing everything we've just learned, that our skeleton is this living, dynamic system, what does that fact mean for how we should think about our health, not just today, but for all the decades to come?